Previous Marine Jackson Briggs is looking to get back to the assistance from which he was released because of his cerebrum injury and seizures he's endured. His boss, Skipper Jones, consequently offers him an open door. He will settle on a decision and as a superior will affirm his application. However, consequently Briggs should ship a female Belgian shepherd, Humdinger, to Nogales for the burial service of her overseer, Riley, who kicked the bucket and offender Bender a couple of days sooner. Since Humdinger is forceful and there is nobody among the troopers or cops to take on her, Briggs is to drop her off at White Sands Base after the burial service, where she will be euthanized. Briggs is given some items to give Riley's family as well as Lulu's Love Me book, a journal that every soldier is required to keep in which they record all of their observations from battle and training. They are also warned not to touch Lulu's ears because she is sensitive to touch. He sets out on a 1,500-mile excursion with a barking puppy in tow. Yet, he chooses to take the trip rather than going directly to the location and waiting for the burial. There, Briggs visits the range soon after departing the base. Lulu is able to escape the transport box while he is away and begins destroying his seats. Briggs must thus tranquilize her using a sausage-shaped tranquilizer and progresses forward with their way. At night, he visits two whores and leaves the sluggish Humdinger in the vehicle. Nonetheless, she before long awakens and begins woofing once more, which is seen by a bystander. Trusting it to be a mishandled canine, the man tosses a stone at the vehicle notwithstanding Briggs' admonition, and Humdinger runs out and goes after him. Briggs rapidly pulls her back, however the two young ladies escape from him meanwhile. The following day, Briggs proceeds with his excursion and has a speech with Humdinger. He uncovers that both he and Humdinger are a risk to the military, she is forceful and masterless. And he has been considered clumsy on the grounds that he endures seizures when he gets pushed. Humdinger out of nowhere breaks liberated from the collar she is tied by, leaps out of the vehicle and makes a run for it, harming herself all the while. Following her path of blood, he is directed to the home of a neighborhood rancher. A man named Gus hits Briggs with a sedative dart and binds him to a seat in the pigsty, where he grills him. Thinking Briggs is an individual from the commando crew shipped off take his weed, he feigns that he killed Humdinger. At the point when he leaves, Briggs breaks free and follows him into the house. As he is going to kill him with a hatchet, he sees Humdinger, whose harmed paw is being tended to by Gus' significant other. Briggs is amazed to find Humdinger acting quiet and well-disposed. Outside the house, he accommodates with Gus and momentarily recounts to him Humdinger's story. Gus' significant other in the long run tells Briggs that Humdinger has her paw treated and she has offered her an association. He observes that Humdinger is longing for a delicate sleeping cushion and Indian food. Expressing farewell to the couple, he leaves with Humdinger. So Briggs, regardless of impressive doubts, stops at a lodging with Humdinger on his way, claiming to be visually impaired and Humdinger is his help canine so the two of them can get in for nothing. He washes up with Humdinger and at night plays with the lodging secretary. Humdinger abruptly breaks free and goes after the Muslim specialist, Al-Farid, however luckily, because of her gag, she can't hurt him. At the point when Briggs attempts to get her, he trips. It is fine to uncover that his vision. He is captured and Humdinger is seized. At the point when he goes through the night in care, he meets a bigoted cop who thinks he set the canine on Al-Farid deliberately. In the cross-examination room the following morning, Briggs attempts to make sense of Humdinger's forceful way of behaving, saying that she was prepared to go after individuals like Al-Farid, and they are both delivered. Since they actually have a lot of time left, Briggs chooses to visit his ex and little girl. Nonetheless, his significant other won't give him access, so he chooses to go see sibling of Humdinger, Nuke, and his overseer Noah, who live close by. Noah welcomes Humdinger like a close buddy and, during a midday grill, uncovers to Briggs that he was experiencing the same thing with Nuke and needed to buckle down with him for a long time before the military permitted him to embrace him. At the point when Briggs expresses farewell to Noah at night, he finds that his vehicle has been stripped and that not exclusively Riley's effects are gone, yet in addition his prescription. With the assistance of the two canines, they can find the cheats and recuperate the majority of the things. Briggs drives away, yet following a few hours of driving in weighty downpour around evening time his vehicle stalls. He and Humdinger take shelter in an unwanted structure. Humdinger fears the tempest, and almost goes after Briggs, in any case she doesn't. A furious Briggs goes out into the downpour, yet ultimately returns and puts on Dim's life systems on television. At the same time, he peruses Riley's strong notes from the Affection Me book about how he nearly lost Humdinger when she was shot once, and that he understands he was never Humdinger's lord, yet that she was his. The following morning, they at long last go to the memorial service. They figure out how to hitch a ride in a little truck and drive a brief distance, strolling the remainder of the way. At the point when Humdinger is too worn out to even consider. In the end, they figure out how to get to the memorial service on time. Briggs lets Humdinger go and she rests by her previous expert's shoes. Briggs solaces her during the tribute and gives Riley's effects to his loved ones. After the burial service, Briggs sorts his vehicle out and calls Skipper Jones. He says that Humdinger has worked on a ton during the excursion and is presently not forceful, and urges Jones to alter his perspective on Humdinger's killing all things considered. Jones, nonetheless, answers that it no longer doesn't depend on them. Coming back, Briggs stops with Humdinger in the grassland, removes her collar, and lets her go so she gets an opportunity to make do. Humdinger, nonetheless, won't take off, and when Briggs attempts to pursue her away, she bounces once again into the vehicle, so Briggs returns with her. He has a seizure at the inn that evening, and when he recovers, he tells Humdinger he's fine, strokes her ears and rests on the floor. Humdinger steadfastly lays her head on his chest and stays with him. In the morning, Briggs, as arranged, takes Lulu to the White Sands base, muzzles her, and hands her over to young Corporal Owitz, but urges him to evaluate Lulu again and give her a chance before putting her down. He then leaves the base himself, but when he sees Lulu's desperate struggle in a rear view, he can't stand it and eventually returns and takes her with him, leaving his expired ID on the base. Some time later, he adopts Lulu and even has his family return to him. The film ends with a shot of Briggs and Lulu sitting on a cliff watching the sea. Briggs thanks Lulu for saving his life.